frugal isn't always best. Extreme frugality can get you out of a real financial pickle in the short term. But there are some frugal habits with big potential pitfalls that could end up costing you big time. One of these things I'm about to talk about cost me thousands, and it is a mistake that I will not be making again. Today, I'm going to talk about frugal habits that might actually be costing you money and how to get the most out of frugal living. Number one is buying cheap. One of the best frugal habits that you can have is to always seek out the best price. However, sometimes people mistake that for seeking out the cheapest price. That's not always going to give you the best value for your money. Look, lots of stuff is overpriced for a multitude of reasons. It could be that you're basically just paying for the brand, or it could just be that the company is trying it on. But we need to not allow that to force us to sway too far in the other direction and seek out the absolute rock bottom price, because sometimes cheapest isn't the best option. Sometimes it's just cheap for a reason. A good example of this is big ticket items like white goods such as dishwashers and washing machines. There's no point in getting the absolute cheapest item out there if it continually breaks down on you over the years and ends up costing you more in repairs than the original one cost. Here's a personal example. So a couple of years ago, we had this kitchen done. It looks fantastic now. I love it. It's one of my favorite rooms in the house. However, getting here was a complete disaster. When we were selecting builders, I decided to go with the cheapest possible quote, thinking that, hey, you know, it's a kitchen fitting, what can possibly go wrong? We ended up having to halt the work midway through when literally there was no kitchen here. All we had was the freestanding oven. Everything else had been completely ripped out. And then we had to wait to get another builder in. I had to pay for that builder to undo the work that had been done and then basically just start from scratch. We also had a problem with damage caused to the floor by the first builder that we'd employed, and he just vanished. He refused to refund us any money, and then he refused to pay for the repair to the floor. Such a stressful time. It ended up costing me a lot of money to put everything back straight and to put the floor down. Luckily, we did take this guy to small claims court and he did pay us the money that we were owed back. However, it did ultimately end up costing me more just because of various things that had to be put right that we couldn't add to the small claim. So my point with this is, cheapest is not always best, and I've so learned from that experience that there's so much more to look at when making a decision on a big purchase like a brand new kitchen, like any kind of home renovation or any kind of product. There's so much more to consider than just the price. Number two is DIY repairs. Now, we have had some great savings from doing our own repairs around the house. Just recently, our ensuite shower had broken, like the temperature adjuster had, something in there had gone. Don't ask me what, because it was my husband that researched it and figured it out. But he ordered the part that we needed, fitted it, and we reckon it saved us about £150. That was like a doable DIY repair to do yourself without a professional. But there are some things that if you attempt them yourself, they are just gonna be a potential nightmare in terms of costs in the long run. And not only is there the risk that something could go wrong if you're overly ambitious with the DIY task that you take on, but there's also the thing of it costing you your valuable time and effort. Not only is that an impact on your quality of life if you're piling hours and hours into a DIY project, but then also is it taking you away from things that actually could be earning you more money. So the problem with this is that because you're so focused on saving money on the task, that it's actually costing you money in the effort and time that it's taking you to do it yourself. Just sometimes with some things, outsourcing it is the much cheaper option. Number three, side hustles that do not pay you for your time. Now, a huge topic in frugal living is side hustles that can boost your budget, and I love a side hustle. I have made thousands of pounds from side hustles over the last few years. Trouble is with some side hustles that they not only cost you time, but they also end up costing you money, because there are certain side hustles that demand that you pay some money up front with no realistic promise of any reward at the end. I'm talking about things like MLM schemes, multi-level marketing, and pyramid schemes. These are huge online. There are so many people on social media trying to recruit people to these type of schemes. Look, this isn't true of all side hustles, but it is really worth checking before you put all of your valuable time, commitment, effort, and possibly even funds into a side hustle just to double check that it's actually going to pay you for your time. You deserve to be paid for your time. Number 4, making your own clothes. Now, it used to be the case that making your own clothes was the cheaper option, and my mum still has tons of outfits, like mummy and daughter outfits, that she made for me and her when I was little. But the thing is, have you seen the cost of fabric now? It's actually no longer the cheaper option. So a lot of people with those skills on a sewing machine and with a needle and thread that I do not possess actually now will like maybe use those skills to instead like buy clothes and adapt them so that they can personalize them and put their own spin on them. But making the clothes from scratch is actually not the cheaper option anymore. Number 5 is buying cheap fashion. You pay a premium for branded fashion, largely because of the name, but there is also an element to the fact that they will often be using better quality materials and there's better craftsmanship that goes into it. However, if you swing too far to the other side of the spectrum and go for cheaper clothes, you'll often find that the quality of the fabric is so poor, the quality of the craftsmanship can be so poor that the item doesn't last a couple of washes in your washing machine. And this reminds me of this theory of socioeconomic unfairness called the boots theory. This comes from the Discworld series of books by Terry Pratchett, and in this particular passage, one of the characters is musing about how expensive it is to be poor. And what this guy says is, take boots for example. A man who could afford $50 had a pair of boots that would still be keeping his feet dry in 10 years' time, while a poor man who could only afford cheap boots would have spent $100 on boots in the same time and would still have wet feet. So I was talking to a friend about this a few weeks ago, and she told me that her mum used to say to her family, "We're too poor to be cheap." And I think that just really sums up what I'm trying to say here. If you can afford to, stretch the budget to pay for clothes made from fabrics and that have the quality that's going to stand the test of time. I found a fantastic article online with a guide to how to spot quality fabrics. I'll link it in the description below for you. Number 6 is coupon and voucher overuse. I think it's really important and a little bit depressing to remember that supermarkets aren't giving you vouchers to help you. Companies aren't giving you discount codes to help you. They're doing it to get you to spend money in their store. Vouchers only ever save you money when you're using them to buy something that you were going to buy anyway. If they have pushed you into a purchase that you would not otherwise have made, you're not saving money, all you're doing is spending it. You're shopping. Number 7 is buying perishable foods in bulk. Now look, I love buying in bulk, but you really do have to plan ahead, have a plan for using up those leftovers. There is no point in saving some money by buying a bigger quantity of fruit and vegetables if you then end up throwing away half of those. You've lost money when you do that. So make a plan to use it and make sure you get stuff that's perishable into the freezer in time. Number 8 is saving the pennies by splashing out the pounds. If you end up spending more money and time in order to achieve a cheaper price, you haven't actually saved anything, and actually it can end up costing you more. For example, if you drive all around town looking for the cheapest possible fuel to fill up your car. So one personal example for me is my kids go to swimming lessons every week, and where they were swimming, I was having to do like a 45-minute round trip to get them there and back. And then I found another swimming class which was so much closer, but it cost £10 more a month for the 2 kids to go. But it was a less than 5-minute drive for us to get there and back. So I figured, look, the money I'm saving in petrol for the month is going to pay for this, and also just the amount of time that I'm spending in the car getting them to and from this swimming lesson. So always stay focused on the bigger picture. Is the cost and effort of getting to the cheaper thing actually going to outweigh any savings that you can make? The next one is saving money. Hear me out, guys. Yes, saving money is a good thing, but it is so important where you actually put that money. And I think it's either down to like a lack of education in school a little bit of intimidation about the sheer volume of financial sort of options there are out there, and also sometimes a bit of like inertia in terms of like we have a current account and we can't really be bothered to sort of move money around. That means that we don't always seek out the best place to put our money. When you stick your money in a very low interest account, inflation continues to make the prices, the cost of things around you increase. And this makes the money you've put into savings less powerful over time. That $20 that you've put into savings is still going to be worth $20, but the amount that that can buy you dwindles over time because the prices have increased. What I'm saying is you need your savings to work hard for you, particularly in the current situation we're in at the moment where inflation is going up, 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 and there are actually a lot more options for savings accounts that offer higher rates of interest. And the final frugal habit that could actually be costing you money is foregoing all joy. Look, I don't care what anyone says, you're not going to get rich overnight by giving up your daily coffee. Look, I don't drink coffee, but I get that it is very important to some people. I just think this is another issue where balance is really, really important. Let's say that your daily coffee is costing you like what, £3 or like say $4. You're having it 5 days a week. Over the course of the year, that's gonna be like nearly £800. Look, £800 is absolutely money worth having in your savings, yes, but is there a compromise to be made here? Because there's no point ditching coffee altogether, putting that £800 into savings every single year, getting to 40, 50 years down the line and having seen your pile of cash grow if you've never spent any money at all in the interim time on stuff that you enjoy. I just think there's always a compromise, a balance to be found. So for example, can you have coffee, takeout, just 1 day a week? I think that when we forgo the things that we enjoy, when we forgo all things that are a treat that makes us happy and is just like a nice break in our day, I don't think it's sustainable to ditch all the things that we enjoy. I think it can mean that you get tired, you get fed up with frugal living very, very quickly. It doesn't have to be all or nothing. It's all about good balance. So sustainable frugality is what is going to yield really good results over time. Extreme frugality can do a lot for you in the short term, but it's not necessarily something that you're going to be able to stick with. It's about creating frugal habits that actually work for you and that you're going to be able to stick with. It's a habit because it's something that comes into your life and you do it regularly. The frugal habits that work for you and the ones that work for me may well be very, very different. It's just about finding the balance that really works for you. Thank you so much for watching. Please hit like and don't forget to subscribe for more from me.